Hello, everyone. We're looking at Exploring World History, lesson number 14, dealing with the Code of Hammurabi. Okay, it's going to be a kind of quick lesson, but an important lesson. Some things we can learn from Hammurabi. First of all, who was Hammurabi? He started out as a military general, a very good general, lots of military victories. He eventually became the king of Babylon, and he reigned from about 1790 to about 1750 BC. And like I stated, he had a lot of military victories and gained control over the entire Mesopotamian region. Was able to dominate the area and he was the very beginning, the start of the Babylonian Empire. He was a very good leader and a very successful warrior, okay? Once he conquered, he dominated and controlled the area, and he established an effective civil service system to maintain control and rule over the area. And what he said was law. The king's word was the ultimate law. It didn't matter what it was, that was the law. And he established a code of what he expected from his people. And some of the problems he ran into is not everybody knew it. So, his empire was vast. And so he wanted to make sure everybody understood what it was. So he had created this what we refer to now as the Code of Hammurabi. And it established a code for the entire kingdom. It gave judges guidance on how to decide cases. And that way Hammurabi did not have to deal with every single case. And it enabled him to administer a much larger area. And one of the things that we know now is that he placed large stones stating what these codes were all over his empire so that people couldn't say, oh, I didn't know. Like, the common phrase you want to say all the time, oh, I didn't know. Well, we've discovered that he had these placed all over in 1901. There was this discovery. And then we found a 7-foot high column, and the code was described on it. It was a relief, and it was from Hammurabi, and the Babylonian god of justice Shamash was on it. And it shows the code was divinely inspired. Hammurabi believed it came from the gods, and he put it out there. And like I said, they found these all over his empire after, they figured out what it was. And the code had 282 specific provisions. That's quite a few that he had to have marked out. It covers matters related to social classes, property rights, trade, personal assaults, marriage, family issues. Pretty much if there was anything that was going on that could cause him a problem, he wanted the people to know what his thoughts on it were and what the law was, because his thoughts were the law, and gave the judges guidance on how to act so he didn't have to go through every province and act. So what is the significance of Hammurabi's code? And there's a few, okay? First, we know that it is the earliest and most complete code or laws that we're aware of, okay? It provided a uniform system of justice for his entire kingdom. Basically, the law was the same in the north as it was the south, in the east as it was the west. It didn't matter. The law was the same. And that's something people preferred and liked, as we do, right? If we travel, to California or New York or wherever we want to travel, everywhere in between, for the most part, the laws are pretty specific, and we know what they are. Some other significances was a code was inscribed in a black stone pillar in a public place for all to be seen and to be warned about. So there could no longer be this, as we stated earlier, this claim of, oh, I wasn't sure what the law was. Well, it's sitting there in a public square for everybody to see, so you should know what the law was. And it created a society of laws so that justice could be administered fairly. If you trace historically back to where we are in America, some of these originated from all the way back from the Code of Hammurabi, especially that, making sure people are aware of the law and that there was a uniform justice administered fairly to everyone. So again, just make sure you read the material. There's some other stuff in that you're going to look at with the Code of Hammurabi, and it's good stuff. Thanks.